Knox County health leaders say they are looking into a range of possible sources tied to an E. coli outbreak. More than 10 Knox County children suffered symptoms of E. coli in the last week. 5 of those children are undergoing treatment at a hospital. 4 of them are in serious condition. The Department of Human Services ordered a child care center to shut down, given its ties to the outbreak investigation. We've reported a series of twists already in this case, and that continued today at times, including conflicting information from various sources. 10 News reporter Stephanie Haynes joins us once again from that child care center in Mascot to bring some clarity. Stephanie?
Hey, good afternoon, John. Earlier this afternoon, I was on the property speaking with the manager, and she was showing me that this facility was running as usual. There were dozens of kids around the camp. But on Tuesday, the Tennessee Department of Human Services ordered that the entire facility be shut down. But a spokesperson for Kids Place behind me says that they didn't learn that they had to shut the facility down until right now. So, in a statement from Kids Place, it says that safety is a top priority. The statement from Kids Place says when they learned that a child was diagnosed with E. coli, they took several proactive steps. They notified the parents, they told the health department, they disinfected classrooms and closed the baby house, what they call is for toddlers. But again, DHS is telling the entire campus to close. So in addition, the statement says 3 other kids were identified as having E. coli, but none of those children are hospitalized. So the Knox County Health Department is working with the facility to train the staff and implement better infection control practices. It's also still investigating the source of the E. coli infection. So it's taken samples from this facility, but it could be days before we hear back with those test results. And they are investigating any and all possible causes, including, but not limited to, this child care facility itself, raw milk, and or exposure to farm animals. Now, Kids Place says that it is next to a private farm with farm animals, but those kids on the property do not have access to those farm animals. And at Kids Place, they have goats, dogs, and ducks on the property, but they say those animals are contained, they've been examined, and the kids in the baby house do not have access to those. We also asked the state why it's possible that this facility could have been running for 2 days, almost 2 days after they ordered its closure, and the state says it's trying to figure that out, and there could be penalties. John, back to you.
Stephanie Haynes with the update on this story, and as Stephanie just reported, the source of the outbreak does remain in question. The Knox County Health Department says the majority of those sick children did report drinking raw milk from the French Broad Farm in Knox County. Leaders at Children's Hospital say the 5 children under their care appear to be linked to raw milk. Again, this story is continuing to develop. Right now, you can read everything we know at WBIR.com, what the Knox County Health Department and the state say about the investigation, plus the full statement from that child care center.